Hello and welcome back to another edition of CovCastMMA. I'm Tom again, obviously joined by Jamie.
Well.
And this week we're going to be discussing UFC 209 and lots of any other things, including a few news that's come the past few days. And this week's discussion topic, we'll be doing our own, because the MMA Awards past weekend, we'll be doing the CovCastMMA Awards. I think award show is probably a bit very prestigious one. Okay, so let's get straight into it. UFC 209 happened this weekend, and if you listen to our previous one we did in UFC 208, we also previewed UFC 209, you would have heard how jubilant myself and Jim were about the prospect of Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. It didn't happen, did it?
It didn't happen.
No.
Which was probably the biggest, not the biggest shock, it was just, well, it was a shock, obviously. But
it was, yeah.
It was just
it's the
heartbreak.
third time they've tried to book that now.
Yeah.
And it's still not happened.
People are debating whether they'll try to book it for the 4th. I mean,
I think to be honest, I think we should give Ferguson. Can you give him a title shot though?
No, I think at some point I think they do actually have to fight to get that fight with Conor.
Yeah,
it's just, I mean, I've heard rumors for
so as well.
210.
That's too.
Cormier's card.
What to have a rematch?
Yeah,
not rematch.
No, for their first fight.
I mean, if that's the case, I think
if Khabib's only out because he was ill, then surely he can jump straight back.
I guess he can, but it's psychologically, after doing such a dramatic and failed weight cut as it was, to go into a month from now to immediately try and do it again. Obviously, I'm not the guy. He's obviously a lot more strong-minded than either of us, but that's still a tough thing to do after what happened.
Yeah.
Have you seen the whole thing with Ferguson? His show money. He's saying he's got
less than half.
Because he was offered Michael Johnson. He turned it down because it wasn't for the same amount of money, and it wasn't a 5-round interim title fight. It was just going to be a 3-round fight.
Which is understandable. I mean,
yeah, I think so as well. That was going to be the biggest payday of his career. He was saying he was on the MMA Hour, and he was saying how this was going to do his whole house and easily set him for life. Probably with this the payday he would have got. He would have nearly got $1 million easily. I
think the only intrigue for him in that fight was the belt and obviously the money. I mean, they fought before. Obviously, I think he would like to avenge that loss.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
No doubt about that. But I really just hope they do get it sorted within maybe 2 or 3 months. Because
we need it to happen. Well, we want it to happen. It's been like...
Does it need to happen that quick? Because obviously Conor's floating about doing his own thing.
I said to I think I said it to you and a few others how this might have been a blessing in disguise in terms of if this fight happened on Saturday night, they would have waited so long for McGregor. Whereas now it's cocked up again. If they try and book it a 4th time, it might be around an appropriate time for have that little break that every fighter has after a fight anyway, and then be ready. Then maybe the Conor thing will happen in the right amount of time. I mean, you've got 212 in Brazil, which they won't be going to. Maybe 213 in the summer, because that's the biggest card. It's usually one of the biggest cards of the year. Their weekend in Vegas.
Although the whole issue with Khabib is his Ramadan thing.
Well, that's exactly. He's got Ramadan, so obviously he won't be
fighting in.
No, not at all. But no, let's talk about the fights that did happen this weekend at UFC 209. We'll start in the prelims. There was a few good fights in the prelims. We had Yuri Alcantara beat Luke Sanders in round 2 of a knee bar, which is quite out of place victory, because Sanders was dominating on the feet.
Definitely.
Both with equal takedowns, but that one submission attempt, when you get locked in like that, regardless of how well you're dominating the fight, you're going to tap out, really, aren't you? I mean, Alcantara, what's he, bantamweight, and he's been around for a while, hasn't he? But neither of these guys were top 15 fighters in the division, but nice little win to get them going. And then the best fight on the prelims, which, oh wow, it was incredible, wasn't it? Mirsad Bektic versus Darren Well, I think it's Bektic, but the Americans say Bektic, because you know how with with all our European footballers who are from that part of the world, it's like Bektic and Ivanovic and Matic.
Ivanovic.
But I guess it's I don't know.
A hell of a comeback.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this one of the greatest comebacks of all time in probably UFC history. I mean, he was getting destroyed the entire fight, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
all 3 rounds.
Yeah, and it came into the 3rd round. It's just amazing. Like, as Joe Rogan and Dominic Cruz both said, how he's destroying him standing up, Bektic, to Elkins, but he's leaving a little window open when he tries for the takedown. Because I mean, he landed 4 takedowns, but 6 of them. He's landed 4 out of 10 takedowns, so 6 of them Elkins managed to suppress, and his takedown defense was very good, which ultimately led to the knockout, because he tried to take him down and then Elkins got dominant in the clinch, and then was able to just punch his lights out, and Elkins Bektic just flopped to the floor.
But, I mean, that was crazy. I mean,
I loved. Have you seen? I think it was because he's a alpha male guy. Elkins on his Instagram, there's a picture of him and Justin Buchholz jumping over the. It looks such a cool picture. But that was amazing. I mean,
a real underdog. I think he was the underdog.
He was Or as Joe said when he was in the octagon afterwards, he was the biggest underdog on the whole entire card. So, to be honest, I was expecting Bektic to win. I think he'll definitely come back because he's one of the best. Because when I saw him fight in Manchester, and when you see him other times, he may be ranked. Well, he's ranked 15 now after losing. He was ranked 13 going into it. But you always saw him as one of these guys who's going to be one of the top guys in the division. Like,
right up there, yeah.
I mean, the featherweight division is very good in terms of most of the guys who are ranked 10 to 15 are really young, like you do Ho Choi's and your Bektic and your Dennis Bermudez. You've got some really good young... Yaya Rodriguez, absolutely. You've got some really good young fighters in there. But that was... I mean,
he'll take on the chin and learn from it.
Absolutely,
that's what you're not going to win. Fighters do.
You're not going to win every single fight in your career, and then as people like Bisping and Cormier have shown, even when you can lose, you're going to come back and be even better.
Yeah, no, he does look like a real prospect for the future.
Absolutely. So now I move to the main card, and the first fight, which, given the name of these two, some people might have expected them to be higher up, finishing later on the show.
It could even be the co-main event.
Yeah, I mean, it was on after the day after Khabib and Tony was pulled out. The cover photo on UFC's Twitter page was Woodley, Thompson, and then these two guys. It was Alistair Overeem and Mark Hunt. So, as I obviously said in our previous show, both coming off losses.
Overeem's lost to Stipe, Mark Hunt lost to
Lesnar.
Yeah, that's it.
But no, it was exactly what we expected. No takedown, well, barely any takedown attempts from the guys, and just purely going for it, really, wasn't it? And then it ended with a few knees to the head and a few shots to the head.
A brutal knee to the head from Overeem.
Mark Hunt's leg kicks, and then he...
that deep cut.
And he's like, he broke his tibia, apparently. That's what he said to the media afterwards. So props to the guy for going...
Well, I don't think there's anybody harder in the UFC than Mark Hunt.
That's the thing. Well... Behind the scenes, having a bit of subway. Sorry.
Forgiven.
But, you know, he's 42 and some people might be saying, oh, well, should he retire now? But the thing with him, he's the sort of guy where he only needs one punch to win.
Yeah.
It's not like he can... So even if he might not be the favourite going in, if he lands that one shot, he's always got a great chance of winning it. I mean, you've got these guys like Ngannou and Derek Lewis now becoming the main guys in the division, but with Mark Hunt, he's still going to be a mainstay because he's got that power.
Yeah, and I just love his philosophy. I mean, I think I watched. It was either a promo or it was some UFC video, and he just said, "Doesn't matter what you do, I'm just going to go in there and try and knock your teeth out." Pretty much. I mean that's all he does. And, for most of the time, he's pretty successful in doing that. When he lands, people go down. I mean, look at the guys he's knocked out. Frank Mir, Roy Nelson. Everybody.
Oh yeah,
everybody. All the greats in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, Bigfoot Silver, Frank Mir, his last two wins.
He beat Silver, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had that amazing war of Silver a few years ago as well, and it was a draw in that one. But you know, Alistair Overeem came out on top, and we found out Dana White's in the press conference after the show, didn't he? That Alistair Overeem had food poisoning the day before.
Yeah, really.
Which is a great example of, regardless of the time, go to your doctor, go to the UFC's doctor when you got that sort of thing, not go to hospital, which is what
don't go rogue, as Dana White said.
I mean, you had Khabib's manager on the MMA Hour talking about the whole thing, because it was around 3 a.m. when they took Khabib to the hospital, and they waited around 5 hours to be seen. Whereas if they contacted...
It would have been immediate.
I mean, and as Khabib's manager, he's been... Let's find the lad's name, because he's...
It's quite a foreign name.
Yeah, but he's been managing fighters for over a decade now. So this isn't... He wasn't like... lost the words completely to do, but it was just that time of night he didn't really like to say. Where's he? Ali Abdelaziz. Yeah, I think he was just a bit dumbstruck and telling it was that time of day and he didn't really know who to call. He obviously regrets, because he said he regretted not doing what Dana said and going through the UFC, because regardless of the time they would have still, that was their co-main event. That was the people's main event.
Certainly ours as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we were looking forward to that fight more than anything.
It's the biggest fight of the year for me so far, if it happened.
Yeah, if it wasn't a Conor McGregor fight this year, it probably would be mine as well.
Yeah, well, definitely it'll be a Conor McGregor fight this year.
Are you sure? Let's not get into that.
So yeah, we also had, let's move further to the main card. So because of the Nurmagomedov Ferguson debacle. This fight was supposed to be the first fight of the night on the exclusive premiums and Fight Pass, but it moved to the main card, which was Amanda Cooper versus Cynthia Calvillo. So you got Amanda Cooper, who I think she was 3-2 coming into this, and Cynthia Calvillo, I'm not sure what her record was. Let's have a look, see. But Amanda Cooper, her only 2 losses were...
She's 4-0 now.
4-0, yeah.
She's part of the Team Alpha Male.
She's Team Alpha Male, yeah. Great night for those guys.
Yeah, very much so.
And she won with a rear naked choke in the first round. She's 3-3 now, Cooper, and all 3 of her losses, because she was one of the most recent series of the Ultimate Fighter. She got to the final of the show. But all 3 of her losses have been via rear naked choke.
All 3?
Yeah. So I think she's one of those fighters where her stand-up's really good. But similar to someone like Paige Van Zandt, where their ground game at the moment just isn't up to scratch.
But Calvillo, actually, if you look at the stats, outstruck her as well.
She did, yeah. Because they landed both, of 29, so they both landed around an equal amount. But yeah, her strike was really, really good. Yeah, that was a weird...
that was just getting it going in the night. And
I didn't mind it being on the main card, to be honest, because I always think it's good to have women's fight on the main card, regardless of their rankings. But it was just... It just left a bit of... I mean, it was a good finish, but it just left a bit of a sour taste after what
I just was surprised. Obviously, you said it was moved up because of the whole Khabib incident, but I was just surprised it was that high up. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, not even some... I mean, some MMA fans that are into the sport quite a lot probably may not know these names.
No, yeah. I told you who it was, but I mean, it's like a very pretty random couple of people in that main card, but... they still put on a show. It's pretty good.
No, it's a good fight, yeah.
So we had, as we said with our surprise in the previous show, that Rashad Evans was fighting on his card and moved down to middleweight this time. I thought, despite the fact it was a 30-pound cut this time, I thought he looked pretty good in terms of his physique.
Yeah, he did. He looked a lot smaller, obviously. I mean,
but then you have the dad bod of Daniel Kelly, that Australian bloke, who just came in and outstruck him. Really,
judo master.
Yeah, just
Daniel Kelly.
Not many takedowns in this fight, but Daniel Kelly looked really good. For a guy who's... I mean, none of these guys are really ranked very high in the... well, obviously, Evans was his first fight in middleweight. I'm not sure about Kelly's rankings, but... Kelly looked really good. I mean, I don't know how many fights he's got left in him.
Very good. I mean,
pretty old bloke.
I remember when they were being introduced, and we just thought, oh my God, who's this guy? Who's this dad?
Well, it's because it's because of the names, isn't it? I mean, you got, obviously... It's the thing with Rashad Evans, which we're sort of getting to with Anderson Silva now, is when we look at him, we still see that guy who knocked out Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
And with Silva, we still see that guy, that spinning wheel kick. Not spinning wheel kick, that front kick, sorry.
Kick, yeah.
But they're not the same guy anymore, are they?
No,
I mean,
of course not.
It's the same with Vitor Belfort. I mean, he's fighting this Saturday. I really hope he wins. I don't think he will, because Gaston looks really good.
It's not TRT Belfort.
No, exactly.
As Joe Rogan said.
I mean, did you see his... they re-showed his wheel kick against Luke Rockhold. Oh, it's tasty, isn't it?
It's good. He looked like a monster against Rockhold.
Yeah, Rockhold's stupid fringe. But this one was basically just similar amount of clinch control, but it's just predominantly he landed more strikes, and that got him the win, didn't it? 29-28 from the judges.
I mean, it was interesting because Daniel Kelly kept using that judo trip on him, and I was actually wondering, because I haven't looked at the stats since the night, and I was thinking, would they be counted as takedowns? Because you are grounding your opponent. I guess it's not a wrestling takedown, but it's still grounding your opponent.
Which one was that, sorry?
Daniel Kelly. When he was...
oh, right, yeah.
Remember he kept tripping Rashad up?
Yeah.
With those judo trips. I was thinking...
I think if you get more control when you get down to the ground, then it could be
I mean, because Rashad keeps popping straight up, I guess. I guess that's why.
There's no distinctive real dominance on the ground from either man to really have a sufficient takedown, apart from the one that Evans obviously landed, but... Most likely, yeah. You're not when you have no top control once you get down there, it's not really going to be a distinctive takedown.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So co-main event, which we were both looking forward to this fight, and it was fight of the night, which is Lando Venata versus David Teymur. So I didn't know much about David Teymur coming into this. I only saw him when he was on Connor's team after the fight, when he said to that guy, like, "I will make you." I don't know what he said. That fight between Garbrandt and McGregor.
Yeah, and then
he said, and they all started laughing at him because he was broken English. But he won 30-27. I mean, if you look at it, those knees he...
I don't think he won the first round.
No, but I mean, the thing with Venata, I mean, coming off that spinning wheel kick against Medeski, he's going to be a lot more he knows that flamboyancy might help him, which he tried to. He did like a cartwheel kick, which he did land.
He did,
but
I mean that would have been knockout of the year right there.
Yeah, good one in both years. He's a quite an intriguing. Even though he lost, he's still an intriguing fighter, I think.
Yeah,
because
he's very young.
He's 24. He's been doing jiu-jitsu since he was 10. He's only been striking for 6 years. That's what Cruz was so shocked by, because that's really seems to be his strongest game now. We haven't really seen him go to the ground yet, Venata, which will be interesting when it does, because if his striking is supposed to be his best art, he's not his best arsenal. He's been doing this. If he's been doing ground game for much longer, then you'd expect him to be even better. He lost submission against Ferguson, but Ferguson's Ferguson, to be honest, isn't it?
Snap jitsu. He's easy leafing on the ground.
Exactly.
Tony Ferguson.
But David Teymur, he was really good. I mean, only 38 seconds of clinch control, but when he was in there, he was doing so many knees to the head to Venata that they're going to win you the rounds all the time, I think.
Yeah, I'd say Teymur shocked a lot of people on the night, because he definitely wasn't the favourite, and to take a 30-27 unanimous decision, I'm going to say it wasn't 30-27 because he didn't win the first round, I'll be honest.
No, I mean, you always get this sort of weird scores from the judges who, when it's pretty clear who won that first round.
But even in the third round, when you're thinking, okay, Venata's probably lost this, he could have ended that in a split second, because he did in his last fight with that wheel kick. I mean, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you never rule him out, I'd say.
These guys are both lightweights. What do you think's next for them? I mean, you'd expect to see both these guys. I mean, have they entered the ranking? No, they're still, neither of them are in the lightweight rankings yet, but they're both knocking the door. I mean,
and a co-main eventing a card.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the thing of these two fighters, they could co-main event it. I mean, obviously they weren't going to originally, but they could have the ability to, because they're very flamboyant and sort of exciting fighters to watch, which always helps. Similar to that Mickey Gall Sage Northcutt thing. Neither guys were ranked in the top 15 of their divisions, but because of who they are, they're put in that co-main event spot.
I'd say it would be less surprising on like a fight night card rather than a proper card. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think those two could main event a fight night card.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd watch it again.
Yeah. You? So the main event was the rematch of maybe one of the best, one of the best fights of 2016, Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. This fight was not one of the best fights of the year.
Probably one of the worst fights. Well, it's been a short year so far, but do we have to talk about it?
Both main events of the pay-per-views in 2017 have been absolute. It's because Mike Goldberg's left. That's why. The Random home, which was a snooze fest, and this one
Goldberg curse.
I think the reason why this one, I think I was a bit more intrigued with compared to the home Durandame fight, was because we know Woodley possesses that one punch thing, and it came in the fifth round. But leading up to, I mean, the first two rounds.
I mean, a lot of people complain about this fight because I think, obviously, Thompson was scared of that, getting hit by that T-bomb again.
Yeah, of course.
But interesting thing, I think Joe Rogan said, he said people that were bored with that fight don't understand that it's like a chess match. Like the proper analytical tactics in there.
But it was always going to be a lot more tactical, this one, in comparison to first, because they both know each other. They know what both possess now. So they were going to be a bit more hesitant in terms of going for that big shot, because they know both can counter and land that big strike, which Woodley did eventually in the fifth. But I think, apart from that fifth round, I think the bit that impressed me the most was Woodley's takedown, because his wrestling is really good. That control he had when he wrapped Woodley's leg, he wrapped Thompson's leg. That was something that, as I said when we were watching it with my flatmate, we were saying the most entertaining part of this fight was you kept on getting their names confused.
It was 6 o'clock in the morning in England. I'm sorry, I just kept saying Woodley instead of Wonderboy.
Yeah, the W's, I guess. But so we had the judges' scores. You got 2 48-47s for Woodley and 1 47-all. Because the first one was 47-47, and I was thinking, no way, is this a draw again? Not because no way, it can't be, no way, thinking, oh, please don't let it be a draw again. I don't want this to happen again.
Well, I think that, what was it? Well, Wonderboy won the first. The
second's equals to equals.
Yeah, but I'd still say that Thompson was pressuring him more. You kept saying Woodley backing up against the fence. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Because that's what he likes to do. Even in that fight, he kept backing up the fence, and then he sort of explodes. Do you know what I mean? And runs at Thompson, and that's what he did very well to get out of the way most of the time, backing up very fast. Obviously, in the fifth round, that was his demise. clipped him.
I think I think the difference between this, the first and the second, they were very precise strikes from Wonderboy, but the third and the fifth, and I would say some in the fourth, even though Thompson landed more. I think the third, fourth, and fifth, Woodley just landed more. I would say significant, but they had a lot more of a presence to them, didn't they? They're a lot more. It's a bit
more meaningful.
Exactly, yeah, and a bit more memorable, and also those strikes. It depends where you land as well. If you're landing when it's just pure stand-up face-to-face and they're just like tactical leg kicks in comparison to when Woodley was on, especially in the third round, he was landing most of his strikes in full mount.
Yeah.
And which is going to be a lot more convincing to the judges as to who's had the most dominating performance in this fight. And like I said, in that fifth round, he landed the knockdown and nearly finished the fight again.
I mean, looking at the stats overall throughout the 5 rounds, you'd have to give it to Woodley, but as watching it, I just thought that Thompson was bringing it more. I know that's Woodley's game plan to sort of set back a bit, but nevertheless, Thompson was the one in control for the most of the fight.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't clipped in the last 20 seconds, 30 seconds,
it was around that. Yeah.
I saw that fight going to Thompson.
Well, that was definitely the most significant moment of the whole fight, no doubt, which I think did sway the judges towards Woodley.
Yeah, I think nevertheless.
But now the big question is, I think I'm completely convinced now Woodley is the greatest welterweight of all time. Is he not? No, he's definitely not. I mean, it's great to have that self-belief because how are you going to defend your belt every single time? But come on, man, like GSP's back. He's one of the greatest welterweights of all time. There's people in this division who are mainly considered great. Robbie Lawler.
Robbie Lawler's beaten guys. I mean,
shitload of people. Yeah. So
definitely.
I think. Now that this is the proper title defense, he's had it, so he is up and running as welterweight champion. But we'll see. I mean, we'll talk about this fight going down at UFC 211, which we'll talk about in a second, which looks like a stacked card, which most likely look like to be the title eliminator, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Woodley's champ, and I reckon he'll be champ until past the summer because he's going to be taking a bit of a break.
Who's he going to fight? What do you think next?
Well, we'll talk about that in a sec.
Okay.
We know who it should be.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. So that was UFC 209. I mean, it was better than 208. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah, most definitely better than 208. I think, even though the main event didn't really live up to expectation in terms of their first fight.
No,
I would say the card in general was good. I thought it was good.
I tell you what, I really enjoy. I know we said how with Mike Goldberg leaving, it was a bit of a shame, which obviously it is. But I really liked Dominic Cruz last night.
Yeah, that was the thing I wanted to highlight.
On Saturday, sorry.
I remember specifically in the main event, Dominic Cruz was talking about Thompson's karate stance, and it was so like in depth because he said basically because of his karate stance, Woodley can't really shoot for the double because.
He's facing sideways.
He's facing sideways. And I just thought, wow, that really is like next level.
Well, it's really good because we always had that thing of Rogan and Goldberg where Goldberg would just sort of give the vague point and then you get the analytical point from Rogan. But now having two guys give the analytical thing, they can maybe do it back and forth. Because the thing is, when Joey Rogan said something, there'd be no one to dispute it.
Yeah.
Whereas now there was
another in-depth
perspective, which obviously sometimes they can agree, but there are moments on Saturday when they disagreed, which is also pretty good as well because you might be thinking when you hear Rogan say something, you might be thinking, "What you want about, mate?" And then Cruz offer that perspective. I think it's really good. I mean, I'm trying to think because I think for most pay-per-views they're going to have that because they had it at 208, didn't they, with DC and Rogan and Anik.
What, you think the trio is there to stay for?
Well, I think they'll alternate still. Yeah. Maybe getting someone like Kenny Florian or Woodley as a pundit on Fox. I don't see him doing the commentary.
I prefer Cormier, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Cormier and Cruz are the two main guys to come through. Or Brian Stan maybe to go the other
commentating.
What do you mean comment? He always commentates.
Brian Stan. Sorry, wrong name. Sorry.
Who are you thinking? Okay.
It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
That's no worries. Yeah, not for me though.
Not for you. No. MMA podcast. Let's talk about MMA rather than
exactly.
university.
So we've also had every Monday. Was it Thursday? Yeah, midweek when after pay-per-view we have the new UFC rankings, and they're up now. So we've got a few changes. Mm-hmm. So now Tyron Woodley has moved up to number 8 in the pound for pound division, one above Dominic Cruz, which I guess kind of makes sense because he's a champ now, and Cruz obviously
defending the title again.
Yeah,
unconvincingly.
Khabib's moved down one spot, which I think that's a bit unfair.
He hasn't fought.
Yeah, and TJ Dillashaw moves up ahead of him, which he hasn't fought. But yeah, I thought that's a bit unfair, to be honest. Let's go through from this weekend. So yeah, Darren Elkins moved up 2 spots, number 12, and Mirsad Bektic's been down to number 15 with Henan Barral overtaking him. I find it really strange. Yair Rodriguez moved down 2 spots.
I wonder why that is.
Well, Chan Sung Jung's gone ahead, I think.
And then Nate Diaz has moved down 2 in
yeah, well, that
lightweight
makes
division.
Nate Diaz. He was at least he was at UFC 209. He was in the crowd. He was sitting
with
next to
Luke Rockhold. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, Vosta, you can tell Vosta hang out, can't you?
It's a weird pairing.
Well, I think they just because those moments are sometimes when they just ask the fighter to sit there so they can just show them saying hi.
Yeah.
You also got who else from this weekend? And the heavyweight division's had a big shaker. Everyone's moved up 1. I think you've had a few guys.
Oh wow, yeah.
Come in and go as well. I mean, you got Ryan Bader moving down to 5th in the light heavyweight, but I think it's because he's moving to Bellator soon.
Was that because it was Nikita Krylov? Maybe he was light heavyweight, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Why have they all moved up 1 then? That's
It's quite. I'm not sure why they moved up 1.
interesting. And then
well, that Tybura won the weekend.
Tybura did win the weekend.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
And Jimmy Manoa, who's fighting in London next Saturday, is now ranked number 4, which is pretty big, to be honest.
Yeah, especially from a British point of view.
Exactly.
Obviously, because Ryan Bader has departed the UFC as of now, I believe.
Well, he's said to be going soon, but I don't know if it's definite yet.
And then Paige Van Zandt has moved down 1 spot as Moroz moves up 1.
Is that the one who beat Cookie Monster, Cara Esparza? No, it's not. Who the hell is that?
She last beat.
What
Danielle
the hell? Her
Taylor
last fight was
in
always
2016.
2016. Fair enough. I didn't do the rankings.
I don't do the
They're very
rankings,
strange,
yeah.
aren't they? So yeah, that is, like I said, UFC 29 and the rankings. So we'll next move on to one of the big news that came out from this weekend, because like most of the time when it's a big pay-per-view, they announce a lot more fights coming up. And probably the biggest fight that was announced for this weekend, we haven't got a date yet, but the biggest fight that's coming up is, we said it last week, George St. Pierre is back, and we now know he's going to be fighting Michael Bisping for the middleweight belt. What do you think about it, Jamie? Just finishing off his drink. GSP is back.
GSP is back, which I'm very happy about. It's interesting that he would get. Well, it's not interesting. It's not surprising either that he would get a.
No, well, it's like I said a few weeks ago on the last show. Sorry, how GSP, the man who's going to be taking Demian Maia or Yoel Romera's title shot, and he's taking Yoel Romera's title shot, isn't he?
Yeah, which I'm not completely happy about. I mean, I watched. I read an article on MMA Fighting.com today, and Joe Rogan basically said, "What's the point of championships?"
Yeah, I listened to that as well. Yeah,
and he's got a point there. I mean,
I get his MO saying we don't need championship rankings if we're just going to have these one-off random fights, but at the same time, the reason why a lot of these fights are bigger than they usually are is because those belts are additions to it. Like that Holloway Pettis fight would not have main event at UFC 206 if it wasn't for DC's injury, but also if it wasn't for the interim featherweight tagline to it as well. Same with the women's featherweight belt at UFC 208 as well.
Oh no way, no.
That definitely wouldn't have main evented it. So I get what he's saying, because then it takes away all the riff-raff and sort of argument over who deserves it and who doesn't deserve it if there's no ranking systems and belts. But at the same time, they've got to be aiming for something. You know, the whole reason McGregor's rise was so famous was because he was on that mission for Aldo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And like, if you take away that aspect, what are the guys aiming for? Are they just? It's hard to know who the bigger name is when there's no one ranked higher than them. And you don't. Who do you know to call out next? It's like if you win a fight and you're ranked number 6 and you beat a guy ranked number 5, obviously you're going to maybe call out or get slapped with someone above you. But if there's no ranking system, you're just going to be waiting to do what you're told, basically, rather than.
Well, the ranking's there for a reason. At the end of the day,
it
reflects where fighters are at in terms of form and ability, and
well, that's what you got Belfort Gastelum this week, and you got the rank number 8 against rank number 10. So that makes textbook sense. Those two guys are fighting.
Yeah, and then you gradually make your way up. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know.
I get why they're doing this fight with GSP, because he is one of the biggest names in the history of the sport.
It's a huge fight.
Bisping
can obviously run his mouth, which he did in the press conference.
He definitely did, yeah.
After a few beverages, I believe.
Yeah, he had that fight with Eddie Bravo as well. That was pretty funny.
That was
We've seen those memes saying it's like they're talking. It's like they've turned it into them talking about which tower was hit first, because the whole Eddie Bravo's 9/11 theories. But
Eddie Bravo.
I think
conspiracies. Man.
One of the things Joe Rogan also said on that thing we're talking about is that Bisping deserves this fight as well. I think because he's had one of the longest careers in the whole company. I think he deserves a big money fight. So it's nice.
I think he's not respected. Do you know
no,
everybody.
I'd say he's the least, with the exception of Jermaine Durandame. I'd say he's the least respected champion in the whole UFC.
Most definitely.
Because I think the way in which he won the belt, some will argue that it's not the way to win it because he was just brought in a few weeks' notice. But then again, that's one of the good things I like about it.
But he beat Rockhold unanimously.
Yeah, I mean destroyed the bloke, didn't he? So you can't take the belt away from him because he beat the champion at the time convincingly.
And he looked invincible, Rockhold, at that time.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think the thing with Bisping is that he doesn't look invincible. No. Which with most champions, you could argue that it's hard to see anyone beating anyone right now. But Bisping doesn't look like the most fragile of champions. I mean, don't say that to his face.
Yeah, and even the fights after the Luke Rockhold, obviously the Anderson Silva, the Dan Henderson, they've equally been close fights. He hasn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't knocked. I mean, the Anderson fight went to decision, and Henderson fight went to decision, I believe. And he hasn't made a statement in terms of his title defences. I mean, he's beaten them. The Anderson fight was obviously controversial because of the flying knee, and then Henderson, that was controversial because look at his face after. I mean, exactly. A lot of people thought that Henderson won that fight.
Henderson said, yeah, I mean, look at. I wish the winner would determine how you look after the fight, because if that's the case, he definitely won it.
Yeah, I mean, damage inflicted.
Yeah.
Henderson wins that fight,
but with the Soldier of God Romero, like he's basically he's the clear number one contender right now, and he said, "My plan to win a world title is my motivation." And he's saying my fight with Bisping will happen eventually. Even if Bisping loses to GSP, I will defeat GSP and offer a fight to Bisping because we have unfinished business. I would love to fight with GSP because I know our styles will present a good test for us both. I mean, that's the thing as well with GSP. We don't know if he's going to be vacating the belt immediately, because there's some points in where he was just seemed to be like he's going for this opportunity rather than wanting. And people were asking, "Are you going to defend your belt as the middleweight champion after this?" And he didn't really give any distinctive.
He kept saying, "We'll get this fight done and then we'll talk about it."
Yeah.
And then, good stuff. Sure.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's right.
But I'd be interesting to see GSP at 185 as well, because Bisping's obviously a bigger guy.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the press conference, obviously. You can tell they're very different guys. I mean, even if Bisping was a bit drunk, you can still see the way in which they approach fights is very different. Like how the few things that stuck out for me was when it all came from Bisping, because obviously he was the most vocal. But he said things to him like, "The difference between you and me, pal," he loves saying that, is pal.
It's Northern.
Yeah, is you're an athlete, I'm a fighter.
Yeah, I'll fight anywhere, anytime.
Yeah,
that sort of philosophy.
Rather than like GSP talking about all these sponsorship things and business things, and as a bit, I want, not because he's English, but I don't want Bisping to win this one, because I'm not. If GSP wins, it just puts the whole middleweight division, which is such a brilliant division in terms of the guys you got in there. It puts everyone.
It's stacked, yeah.
Yeah, it just puts everyone on like hiatus. But it puts the whole division on hiatus, not knowing what we actually want to do. I mean, if you go from rank 10, everyone is championship quality. Gastelum, Belfort, Brunson, Silva, Whittaker, Mousasi, Weidman, Jacare, Rockhold, Romero. It is such a. I mean, and if you include GSP in that, and he does defend his belt, Uriah Hall, and people like that, Sam Alvey.
Yeah.
I mean, if you include GSP in that, and he does become a fighting champion, that is probably the best division in the entire company.
I would say it's the most competitive in that top 10.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, heavyweight's becoming that as well at the moment. But, yeah, I don't know what to think of. I really hope he does stay after winning this fight and doesn't just vacate it and then do a welterweight against McGregor or go for Woodley.
You think GSP will win?
Yes.
You were talking like that. Really?
Yeah, I think he'll win.
We haven't seen GSP for
3 years. Yeah, around that, yeah.
But the thing he said was, I'm working every day and my trainers are saying I wouldn't come back if they didn't think that I would be better. Yeah,
I mean, well, Dana White said for ages that he never thought GSP would come back. He thought he was done for. And when he said that, I always agreed with him. But, you know, if GSP, if he wants it, fair play to him.
Yeah.
We also got a little preview this week it was at first advert, I think it's airing April 18th or 19th, it was an advert for the Tough 25, Ultimate Fighter 25 Redemption from the welterweights who competed on the show. But the main thing I loved of it, which we only got a slight glimpse of it, but the whole rivalry between Garbrandt and Dillashaw, which, as I said in the previous show, is going to be so good to see. Like the whole little bit when he actually had his hand on Dillashaw's throat.
Yeah, strangling them, yeah.
And they were just arguing so much. I can't wait for that. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I hope it's not too manufactured, you know what I mean? It's like, I'd rather prefer... Well, I'm not sure if the Ultimate Fighter is... It's obviously scripted in some regards because they need the footage, I think.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, because you ask for those confrontation moments, yeah. I mean, a lot of the time, though, I mean, you've seen with previous series, though, the camera's just completely rolling to film what happens. Because with the fight game, there's so many changes, you can't script it sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But no, yeah, so the Ultimate Fighter 25 comes, I think, mid-April with the finale in July.
April 19th,
yeah.
probably.
So this Saturday, I mean, I can't wait for this. It's such a good card from the whole main card is absolutely phenomenal. So we've got this weekend, we've got Fortaleza in Brazil, UFC Fight Night, Belfort Gastelum. What's the one that stands out for you at the moment? This one, Jamie?
I'd probably say the main event is probably the thing I'm looking forward to most, understandably.
I've seen Belfort's gone full shaved head now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I am a big fan of Kelvin Gastelum, if I say his name right. Because I don't think he's... Obviously the weight cutting issues and him not living up to maybe his full potential in the cage. But I really do want to see him get his stuff together. Obviously he's moving to middleweight now, so he should be able to hopefully go on a good run and really solidify himself as one of the top guys in the middleweight division.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to GCF Omega versus Ray Borg.
That's bantamweight.
Yeah, no, flyweight.
Flyweight, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean
bantamweight. I'm talking about.
Formiga ranked number 3, Ray Borg ranked number 8, both coming off pretty decent wins, and it's such a Brazil heavy card in this one. You've got like Betchko Haya, Alex Oliveira, Edson Barboza, Shogun Hura as well. It just looks like a pay-per-view quality card. I mean, if you had all those boys and maybe an Aldo fighting in the main event, this would be such a good card, wouldn't it? I can't wait for it.
I mean, it looks like a great card, to be honest. I am looking forward to seeing. My other is Edson Barboza.
Edson Barboza, oh yeah, it's always fun when he fights. But just watch for those legs; they spin and just go crazy.
And Darius looks like a good prospect as well.
Yeah,
I do like Darius.
That's the thing with a lot of these sort of fights. It's similar to how I thought with the Lando fight. I just assumed Lando was going to win, and so don't expect every single Brazilian to win these fights for me. I mean, Tim Means, Alex Oliveira? Yeah,
it is.
The other cowboy.
The other cowboy.
No,
do
you know he's fought?
Fought Cowboy. Yeah.
Cowboy versus Cowboy. I saw it the other day. That's pretty
Cowboy beat Cowboy.
Obviously, Cowboy won against Cowboy.
Cerrone beat
Oliveira. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they're both wanting this fight again after the no contest in the UFC 207 prelims. So that's going to be good to see as well. So yeah, that is UFC Fight Night in Brazil this Saturday. What else have we got coming up next? That's not the ones. Oh, news. As I said, UFC 211 is a stacked card, and my God, it's looking so good at the moment, isn't it? Really is, so as we said on the last show, we had 2 fights announced. We had Stipe Miocic against Junior Santos for the heavyweight belt, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Jessica Andrade for the strawweight belt. But we've had 3 fights added to this card this week, or the past week or so, and I think this has the potential, if none of these guys get hurt, to be one of the best cards of the year.
Definitely.
So, as we said, it's easily better card than the previous 2 cards we had already, I think.
Yeah, in terms of names and style matchups.
Exactly. So I think the best style matchup, I think, is in the welterweight division, which, as I said, we were going to discuss who was going to fight Tyron Woodley next for the belt, and I think this is the fight to decide that. It's Demi Maia versus Jorge Masvidal. Originally, I was thinking it was going to be Maia Cerrone, but Masvidal he came in and just destroyed Cerrone in Denver a few months back.
Hometown, yeah.
So now we have got these 2 fighting each other. It is a very intriguing fight. You've got one man who lives for standing up. I mean, his wrestling's really good, Masvidal, but his strength really is in his punches.
Yeah.
And you've got Demi Maia, who basically, I don't think he can punch.
No.
Obviously he can, but I'm exaggerating. But his jiu-jitsu is just second to none. No one can touch him.
He only punches to get you on the ground.
Exactly.
That's his philosophy.
So,
and he'll strangle you like an anaconda. Seriously,
anaconda don't. I mean, yeah, 50% of Maia's victories have come from submissions.
I thought it'd be more than that, to be honest. I mean, it's still impressive.
It's still 12 wins by. He's 24-6, and Masvidal's 32-11. So they've both got pretty good records coming into this. But who have you got in this one? If we do have to, well, I have to pick a winner, but I'm hoping Dana Maia.
As you said, it is really interesting the star matchups.
Because Dana Maia is such a lovely chap.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and he's obviously has a lot of patience in the division because he's been maybe shot down title fights multiple times. And
he's on a 6-fight win streak at the moment. I think he thought he was going to get this shot against Woodley or Thompson, but
I think they deserve it until GSP came in.
I think he might have just thought when that GSP fight was announced. I think he had an immediate assumption of thinking, "Oh God, maybe I'm not going to get my immediate shot against Woodley or Thompson. I better just book him a fight now." I mean, I thought this fight with Cerrone was going to happen, but now it wasn't. I just assumed Maia would immediately get it. But I like this fight. I think it's good.
I do as well.
Masvidal, he showed up against Cowboy, so why not give him this opportunity? And another fight we have is the returning former lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez against Dustin Poirier, who man who broke his leg recently at UFC 208. That's
a really good matchup.
Yeah,
really
it's very
like
good.
This
I'm surprised that Poirier is going straight back into it because I thought he said he was taking a break, but I guess this sort of fight shows up. You're not going to say no to it, are you, against former champion?
I mean, yeah, obviously Eddie Alvarez is on the bounce after UFC 205.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
He wants Khabib or Tony, but he knows he can't get at the moment, so he's going for this one.
No,
I like it. I think it's going to be really good.
I like Alvarez actually because there was a lot of stuff said about him before 205 because he did talk quite a bit to Conor, and which is understandable. You want to build numbers for the most historic card in UFC history, but at the end of the day, I think he seems like quite a genuine guy, the underground king.
That nickname was made for 205.
It was.
He didn't have a nickname, and I guess they just thought maybe it has more pizzazz, but the champion in the main event has a nickname.
It's a good one as well because it's sort of the Rocky story. He does resemble Rocky, coming from Philly and being sort of.
But no, I'm looking forward to this. I kind of want Alvarez to win.
I don't think I'm particularly bothered either way, but it's a good step for Poirier if he gets this done because he's number 10 now fighting number 3.
Absolutely.
He can really skyrocket in the rankings if he gets this done.
Absolutely. Speaking of someone who can skyrocket, we've got former title challenger Henry Cejudo against Sergio Pettis, the brother of Anthony. So this is the rank number 2. Is it? Oh, is it? Whatever. It doesn't matter. This is another cracking fight as well in the flyweight division. Both guys, like I said, Cejudo lost to Johnson last summer, but this is a great way to get back into the picture. Yeah, I mean, we also now know that Demetrius Johnson is defending his belt in a month or so against Wilson Hayes at UFC Fight Night in Kansas. So maybe the winner of this fight is going to fight the winner of that fight. And as you said, I don't see anyone stopping DJ anytime soon, but it's good that Cejudo's not just waiting for his I don't think Benavidez deserves the next title shot because he doesn't fight as frequently as Cejudo.
And he's lost to DJ twice already.
He's lost to DJ twice. I don't think that's the fight.
Cejudo? Which one is it? I'm going to say Cejudo because it sounds natural to me, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to say Cejudo. I'm going to say Cejudo now.
I think Cejudo... If he's the one who showed... If this is the one that showed up against... Even though he lost against Benavidez, he looked really, really good in that fight. And he landed a lot of strikes. I was surprised he lost that one, to be honest. I think he got some points taken off him because he accidentally did a low blow to Benavidez, which deducted some points, which might have been a reason why he lost. But he looked really good in that previous fight against Benavidez. So if that's the guy that shows up against Pettis, Pettis is going to have a tough time. But
perhaps the winner of Borg versus
Borg versus Mick fights these guys, because they're fighting around a similar time. That's the good thing I like when divisions top guys are all fighting around a similar time because it's much more easier to arrange. Because if you have like a fight that happens then,
they're all sort of on the same schedule.
Exactly, because I mean this fight happens in May 13th and the Demetrius Johnson fight is in April, and obviously you've got Formiga versus Borg, and you also got at UFC. I think it's in. Where is it? Oh, UFC in Kansas on the same night. You've got Tim Elliott, who recently fought against Demetrius Johnson against Lewis Smolka.
Yeah, no, Elliott was really good in the first sort of opening exchanges against DJ.
Yeah. Oh my god. So let's we moved. Yeah. So that's UFC 211. Just a few more bits and bobs before we wrap up the news segment of the show. Like we said, the main event in UFC Kansas is now Demetrius Johnson versus Wilson Hayes. I always thought it was Rice because it's with an R.
Spelt Rice.
Yeah, but he said because who was it? John Anik asked DJ who his fight is, and he announced that it was Wilson Hayes.
Wilson Hayes.
But the main event of that fight night is, like I said, Rich Johnson, Wilson Hayes for the flyweight belt. But the co-main, well, actually we've got two co-mains really. You got Rose Namajunas against Michelle Watson, which I think we've talked about, which is going to be a cracking fight. Right. But you've also got announced now Jacare versus Robert Whittaker, which I think is a great bout to decide. I mean, you've got Mousasi versus Weidman at 210 soon. So maybe the winner, because that's 4 versus 5, Mousasi Weidman, and this is 3 versus 6, Whittaker versus Jacare.
Such a stacked division.
It's so good, man. It's crazy. The number 6 could easily be the champion. Whittaker's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, Jacare, I don't think he's definitely the favourite.
If Jacare wins this, is he guaranteed? No, obviously.
You got Romero. Exactly. Yeah, and you've got Rockhold to come back as well.
It's hard looking into the future because there's so many.
Maybe they'll do
so many prospects.
Do you know what I think they'll do? Do you know what I think they'll do? I think winner of Jacare and Whittaker will fight the winner of Mousasi Weidman, and winner of that one will fight Romero for an interim middleweight against Romero. Or maybe Romero will fight Rockhold just to keep himself busy.
Oh, Rockhold, damn.
But that's why I said this is easily the best division in the UFC. It's so stacked.
Intrigue because Jacare has already fought Rockhold. They could wind that back again. There's so many options in the middleweight division because there's just so many top prospects and.
It's looking good though. So this is the fight night in Kansas we've got coming up on April the 15th. Yeah, so we'll be back home for Easter break then, but we'll try and get it. We can maybe get something sorted. Garage site, you don't live too far from me, or vice versa.
Yeah, that definitely looks like a good card, this one.
So yeah, that is the wrap up of the news. Play jingle. We haven't got a jingle.
You can edit one in.
Yeah. So let's get now into the discussion part of the show. So this weekend, or past weekend, we had. I think it's past weekend. It could be 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. But it was the MMA Awards in Las Vegas. A lot of people winning. I'm not going out to those one because it might influence our decision here. But we're basically going to do our own little awards show now. So, the glitz and glamour of the CovCastMMA Awards, the first annual edition, Jamie. Are you ready for this?
Wow.
What are you wearing for the award show?
I'm going to go with a nice simple tux, you know.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, where it's going to work, we've got a lot of categories here. We're just going to break them down and then I'll highlight a winner and just go from there. So yeah, let's go from it. So the first category is male fighter of. This is 2016, by the way. I know it's like March now, but you know award tours always happen this time of year, don't they? Really.
We're only 3 months into 2017.
Exactly.
We can't really do that.
So yeah, male fighter of the year. Our list our conclusive list is Cody Garbrandt, Conor McGregor, Stipe Miocic, Michael Bisping, and Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Who you got? I mean,
interesting.
I'm not gonna put him as one of the. He's not my fighter of the year, but an honourable mention is for Cowboy Cerrone, just for moving up weight and looking so dominant. And it's a great. I think he's the first to now do it on such a big level of showing that you don't need to cut so much weight to still be a dominant fighter. So I think the reason I put him in this category is because I respect him for showing that this doesn't need to happen. You don't need to cut. And Khabib is a prime example. You don't need to cut weight. You should move up, maybe. But I think my fighter of the year.
You've got some really good contenders here.
Is Stipe Miocic, because who did he fight last year? He fought Andrei Arlovski, beat him convincingly. Verdum beat him just backtracking and a right hook, and then he defended his belt against an absolute monster in Alistair Overeem, and it was such a great feel-good fight because it was in his hometown. And so I'm going for Stipe Miocic because it's hard to be so dominant in the heavyweight division, but he seems to be doing it really well. So yeah, I'm going for Stipe Miocic as my fighter of the year. About you?
Oh wow! Can you get the shortlist up, please? Actually, I've got it here.
You got it here, yeah.
No worry.
And your awful font, mate. Times New Roman is the font.
I'm not going to go with Cowboy because obviously he had that impressive run in welterweight, but
I would say not. I would say I don't know about you, but I wouldn't say Garbrandt purely based on the fact that he, with the exception of Cruz, because that was incredible, most of the guys he fought.
Well, he beat Oliveira.
Almeida,
sorry.
But they're not top 10 guys.
Almeida was undefeated though.
He was, but Miocic was fighting the best of the best in that division.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And okay, no, I wasn't going to go for Cody anyway. It's either Conor or Bisping. I would either go for
I wouldn't say McGregor because
no, the reason that I would go for McGregor. Hear me out, not because of the belts.
Okay.
I would do it because of his 2 fights with Diaz.
Okay.
But
he lost one of them.
He lost one of them, but he adapted, and obviously,
that was
his work.
That was something we
don't.
Yeah.
It was like he was evolving as a fighter.
Something
he said he needed that loss.
There's something we've never seen from him, and the way he looked in the Eddie Alvarez fight, he looked like a changed man after that fight to Nate. Because he goes into fights not analysing his opponents, whereas previously he still analysed Jose Aldo and Chad Mendes back in the day, but now he
brought in specific body types. He brought in Conor Wallace, Irish boxing.
Dylan Dennis as well.
Dylan Dennis for his ground game, even though I think he still would be minutes on the ground by Nate. But nevertheless, that would be the reason I would go with Conor, just because of getting over that hurdle of losing. I mean, even though he does look indestructible for most of the time, losing. But I mean, look at that.
Stipe, round 1 knockouts of Arlovski, Verdum, and Overeem. I just think that's so good. All performance on the fight of a night.
But then I'm tempted to go for Michael Bisping because it's such an upset.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
He won the UFC's fighter of the year, Bisping.
I think he's achieved so much that. Well, nobody expected him to be champion. Let's be honest. I don't think anybody expected him to beat champions like Anderson Silva.
And Luke Rockhold.
And then Luke Rockhold. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for Michael Bisping.
Yeah, I think I will as well, actually. Yeah. I do.
Just because he's beaten some of the top guys, maybe not convincingly, but he has. And then also to get over the fear factor of Dan Henderson obviously getting knocked out.
Yeah, because we said in the previous show, psychologically, regardless of rankings and age, that whole psychological factor of the guy who was famous from that knockout is going to do your head in. So yeah, actually, you're right. I'm going to go for Bisping because it also was in Manchester, that fight. It sort of capped off his title defence, and he's been a battle-tested warrior throughout years, and I think it was a great story.
And I think he deserves all the praise he's getting.
Okay, so yeah, our male fighter of 2016 is Michael Bisping.
Unanimous decision.
Unanimous decision. So now we'll move on to female fighter of the year. So the list we have here is Amanda Nunes, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Andrade, Valentina Shevchenko, and Chris Cyborg. Jamie starts off.
I don't know where to start.
I put Andrade in this list because I think
over Kovacevic.
Yeah. Because I'm just going off people who haven't lost. Because
I know you have a soft spot for Andrade as well. So
yeah, well, Shevchenko's well, I wouldn't stand a chance. She's gay, so.
So it's Nunes.
Yeah. Well, I don't really like Nunes, but I think I would give this to Amanda Nunes for female fighter of the year.
That's interesting.
Because she beat most likely her next challenger, Valentina Shevchenko, to become number one contender, and then she beat Miesha Tate in convincing fashion after everyone thought when that moved to the. I remember when that fight was moved to the main event of UFC 200. I said to my brother, John Jones versus Cormier's off, and my brother was like, oh, who's the main event now? And I was like, oh, it's Miesha Tate versus some randomer.
Wow. How wrong you were.
Exactly, and she absolutely dominated her. I mean, Miesha Tate has said now that was the hardest hitting person she's ever fought against. And she basically, she fought again against Raquel Pennington, but she was done before that fight even happened.
Yeah. No,
and so she basically made her retire. And then obviously, as we know, in December, she fought Ronda Rousey.
Dismantled Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
In
and
30 seconds.
Most likely retired another legend. So I think...
All but retired, yeah.
Yeah, and she's Brazil's first UFC champion. I can't see, the fight against Shevchenko, I'd love that to be at 212 because it's in Brazil. That'd be quite cool.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It's just looking at the other contenders. I'd say Cyborg hasn't been active enough, obviously, because of the USADA.
Yeah, I put Cyborg in there because I think it was great for her to finally arrive in the UFC, and we got two dominating victories.
Oh, you did put Duraname for winning the featherweight belt.
That's 2017, and
2017.
She can do even if she cured cancer, I still wouldn't put her in that list. No, I would. Well, no, I wouldn't.
And then Shevchenko,
she lost to Nunes, but she beat Holly Holm.
She beat Holly Holm, yeah.
Yeah, and then, that was this year, but she beat Joanna Peña to become number one contender.
And then obviously
Joanna
Jędrzejczyk, she defended obviously her title against.
I think she only fought two times in 2016.
Karolina Kowalkiewicz
and Claudia Gadelha, but I don't think she fought any other times. I don't think anyway.
But it's just pretty routine for her, just defending her belt. Nothing particularly groundbreaking. I mean, she's beaten two top girls. I mean, two top contenders.
Yeah, so she had 2 fights against Godella and Kovacevic.
But in terms of achievement, in terms of like making significant ground, I'd have to give it to Nunes, obviously, because she's won the title.
Yeah, and
and beat top girls in the division after that.
So this is a good one. This is a breakthrough fighter of the year, so like young fighter of the year. And list we got here is Cody Garbrandt, Yair Rodriguez, Mickey Gall, Doo-Ho Choi, and Max Holloway.
I'm not questioning Holloway already.
What, for breakthrough?
Yeah.
Because why?
I knew Holloway from.
Yeah, I know. Ago. I was just trying to think of young guy. I couldn't think of anyone else to put in the whole list, to be honest.
Fair, yeah.
I didn't. I mean, Holloway's into champ, but I wasn't considering, to be honest. I'm going for Cody Garbrandt because
no Sage Northcutt as well.
Well, he wasn't very good this year. He beat, who did he beat at 200?
Oh, I don't even know.
Exactly, and he lost to Mickey Gall. I put Mickey Gall in there, despite the fact he's only 4-0 now.
Even though they lost, though, he was a breakout name. People do know who Sage Northcutt is.
Yeah, the reason I had Mickey Gall in here, though, is because I think it's one of those guys. He's one of those backing up his words sort of blokes, and he's getting those money fights early. I mean, he's already famous, and he's only had 4 fights in the UFC, 5 fights.
I think not even that.
Because he beat CM Punk and beat Sage Northcutt. That was his second fight in the UFC.
Second fight in the UFC.
Yeah. So he was 1, 2, 3. He's 4-0.
Oh yeah, just last fight.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Mickey Gall because I just like his whole approach to pre and post fights. I think it's very intriguing and grabbing as well.
He seems like a really nice guy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
genuine kid.
But I think you can't take away from. I really like Yair Rodriguez as well because obviously he's very flamboyant, and I expect to see him.
And you're giving it to Cody.
I'm still giving it to Cody.
I would give it to Cody as well.
Yeah,
just because of the achievement of.
And he won the belt. Yeah, exactly. I don't think you can take away from him.
Beating the greatest bantamweight of all time. No bias, but it's true.
You're right, Faber.
You're right, Faber. Well, yeah, Ferreira is one of the best. No doubt about it. But just what Cody's. I mean, did you know the name before this year?
No.
I only knew it because of the whole Conor.
Yeah. But I like the whole story of it as well. I mean, if you go from that video package of when Faber lost to Cruz in the summer, 199, and he said, Cruz hits hard, he doesn't hit hard, then my boy Cody No Love.
Yeah, and everybody just sort of rolled their eyes about it.
Yeah, and it sort of went from there, though, to be honest. Because it was a great story in terms of the whole alpha male rivalry rekindled. And I mean, basically, Cruz still fought alpha male guys all year again, basically. Did a short Faber and Garbrandt. But, yeah, I just think the whole story from coming up from this year, just knocking people out and calling people out and just, yeah.
Yeah, and the underdog story as well, because people thought, I mean, we thought that Cruz was going to run the circles around him.
Yeah.
And then Cody out-Cruzed Cruz.
Yeah, he basically did always dodges, yeah.
Nobody does that against Dominic Cruz, and fair play to him.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we're going to go breakthrough fighter of the year is Cody Garbrandt. Fight of the year. We got Carlos Condit versus Robbie Lawler at UFC 195, Tate Home 196, Choi Swanson 206, McGregor Diaz 2 at UFC 202, and Woodley Thompson 1 at UFC 205. Obviously, you guys can't see it, but I emphasised the word 1 on the list because 2 was so bad.
Yeah. I know it was in 2017.
No, any biased. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick yet. I really enjoyed Miesha Tate versus Holly Holm.
Yeah,
I thought that's absolute quality because, I mean, Holly Holm was winning that fight. I think if I went to a decision, she was going to win it, definitely.
What have you ranked these fights on?
Just like enjoyment.
Enjoyment.
Okay. No, like fight of. I mean, I assume all of these ones definitely would have won fight of the night. But it's just like, yeah, it's just basic enjoyment. I mean, do you not agree with these ones?
No, I do. I think I do. I would put what would I put in that? I think Verdun versus Stipe.
Yeah, that was very resounding though.
No, because Verdun knocked him. Or was it over him? No, over him versus Stipe. Sorry. Just because of the comeback factor, because Overeem knocks him down like first or second round, and this DP comes back to win it. That would be the only. I agree with your 5, but that would be my only addition to that.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to say that's the best either. That's just a possible other.
Yeah, I like the Miesha
Me
Tate.
being difficult.
That's okay. I like the Miesha Tate one because it's sort of, even though she lost her belt in her first title defense, I thought it sort of capsulated in her career, because her and Ronda Rousey are really the two most famous female pioneers of women's MMA, really, aren't they? Especially in America. Yeah. And for her to finally reach that summit, I thought was really, really good for her. I mean, she was getting. I mean, it was fairly even to stand up, but I mean, she did look. I mean, Holly Holm was definitely dominating that fight.
I've got another addition.
What?
TJ Dillashaw versus Dominic Cruz.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
I'm messing up your whole rankings now.
It's
I'm
okay.
messing up your whole contenders now.
It's alright. It's good to add some spanners into the works. I mean, I'm not saying Conor Lawler was incredible.
Yeah, that was a great fight.
I mean, there's too many things here to really decide a winner. Choi versus Duho Choi versus Cub Swanson.
That was mad.
Yeah, that
crazy
was,
fight.
Like bombs. Just, I mean, my favourite quote from that fight was when he said, "Choi's shots are all precise, whereas everything Cub throws in was grandma's house."
That's good.
And as we said on our 206 edition of this podcast, not our 206 episode, our second episode actually, there wasn't really a loser in that fight, was there?
No. I mean, the decision could have gone each way. And Duho Choi's made a name for himself. Obviously fighting a bigger guy like Cub Swanson. So at the end of the day, I'd say it was beneficial for both fighters.
Yeah, I think I'd
have to go for McGregor Diaz too, because that was the one that got me out of my seat the most.
I think so as well. Yeah,
because it looked like Conor was going to lose in the third round maybe, and then because Diaz was pressing her up against the cage in the clinch, and then in the fourth round Conor got a bit of wind back, maybe a second wind, put the pressure on Diaz. Fifth round, equally crazy. It was just a crazy fight.
Yeah,
and as I've said,
I'd have to go for that fight as well. Diaz in his picture on UFC.com was like Gollum, for Christ's sake. Look at that. That's weird.
That's probably a picture. I wonder if that was taken at welterweight or lightweight.
That was taken at.
Probably taken at 202.
That's right. No, he wore black shorts 202. That's 196.
You have good memory.
Yeah, it's a pointless memory. So yeah, let's go. McGregor Diaz 2 is our fight of the year. I mean, the whole story behind it. And as you said, that fight really evolved McGregor as a fighter, because, as you said, he brought in specific people for his camp. It made Diaz an even bigger star. And it also, I think, all of these other fights, with the exception of Choi Swanson, were for belts. And that's true. McGregor's really the only guy you can main event a card with, and you don't have to have a belt.
Yeah.
Give me your belt. That's such a funny video. What else we got? We've got so many to go. Knockout of the year. KO. Punch in the face. Ouch, that hurt.
Yes.
Knockout of the year. That's the slogan.
Sleepy time.
Yeah. So we've got our list for knockouts of the year. We've got Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Glover Teixeira at UFC 202 with that 13-second. Lando Venata versus John Medeski at UFC 206 with that spinning wheel kick. Donald Cerrone versus Rick Stewart at UFC 202 with that great combo. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, that was brutal.
Romero's knee from hell against Chris Weidman, and Miocic's right hook against Verdun, which won him the belt at UFC 197. I'm going to go for yeah. I'm on the. I want to say Romero, but the reason why I'm hesitant is because it was sort of forced into it. Do you know what I mean? It was sort of landed by, not luck, obviously, because you're not going to do a move like that.
It's improvisation.
Yeah, which could be argued the reason why it's better. But I think with Weidman going for the takedown and he got the knee in at that point, it could be argued that it might.
Weidman did half the work. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Weidman sort of contributed to his own downfall there because he was already going for the takedown, so he exerted a lot of energy into that. I do really like the Cowboy Rick Story one.
I think that is my actual one.
Yeah,
I'm going to go for.
Because Rumble Teixeira, I mean, 13 seconds. That was just
like Conor Aldo, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. Yeah. And Miocic Verdum, I think the reason why I'm picking, the reason why I want Rick Story and Cowboy is because it was quite a competitive moment when he got the knockout. It wasn't a moment where the guy was vulnerable. I mean, that Verdun one was just swinging and was so wide. He just ran after it and just got clipped. Same with Rumble Tejera, who was just overzealous, and Medeski wasn't just...
Makdessi.
I don't know how you say his name. Makdessi. It's John Makdessi, not John Medeski. I don't know. I'm thinking of the Medeski Stadium from Reading. Anyway. Now I go Cowboy story as well. That combination was incredible. And
you could even put Cowboy's head kick of
Matt Brown. Yeah, I was trying to think of... I was going to include a Cowboy knockout. I didn't include that one because it was just a resounding one, but I liked it because of a technique. Because it was like a shot to the body, then a shot to the head, and a kick. It's so good.
It's fantastic.
So I'm going to go, Cowboy versus Rich Story.
Cowboy story.
And it also convinced him to stay at welterweight that fight as well, because he was on Rogan the week after, and he was saying, you're like a video game character. Yeah, just stay there. And I think he sort of convinced himself that he's going to do it. So now I'm going to move to shock of the year. This isn't necessarily an underdog beating a favourite. It could be purely based on the scenario as well. I mean, most of these are, not even underdog favourites, but just like the whole situation of it. So
Punk versus Girl.
Exactly. So Bisping versus Rockhold, UFC 199. CM Punk versus Mickey Gall.
I'll tell you what, if CM Punk beat Mickey Gall, that's the biggest upset in UFC history.
Oh, no doubt. Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey at UFC 207. Diaz McGregor 1, UFC 196. Alvarez versus Dos Anjos at UFC Fight Night 90 for the lightweight belt. I'm going to... I would only say it because I didn't really know who Alvarez was going to that title fight. That was a huge shock. He definitely was nowhere near the favourite going into that. And Dos Anjos was the guy who we thought McGregor was going to fight for the lightweight. So that was a big shock going into it.
It's interesting that you put Nunes versus Rousey instead of Holm versus Rousey.
The reason, that was 2015. The reason I put Nunes Rousey is because the way in which that fight was presented to the public.
Yeah. Rousey coming back as
this dominant force. And I think it didn't shock me.
That was to the casual fan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. Shock is a shock by the masses, and most people who are the casuals, and even some of the owners, because one of the owners called Nunes fodder.
Yeah.
Like, the whole presentation of that fight was the Queen's coming back to take her throne, whereas the world champion was barely mentioned, and she just did her job and knocked her out within a minute or so, but less than a minute, wasn't it? And that's the shock I'm going for. That the way in which something was presented just didn't happen on the face of it. So I'm going to give that to...
I've got another contender. I keep messing up your contenders here, but Woodley versus Lawler. I don't think many people expected Woodley to beat Robbie Lawler.
Well, I don't think even Stephen Thompson did, because a week before when he beat Roy McDonald for becoming a contender, he said I want to fight Robbie Lawler, and just completely dismissed Tyron Woodley, as did a lot of people, because Robbie Lawler was coming off such a great win against Carlos Condit and Roy McDonald that you didn't expect him to lose. But
in terms of
I put CM Punk versus Mickey Gall as well. The only reason I put that as a shock is because it actually happened.
Oh, just in terms of...
Yeah, because the fact that he thought he could actually get in there, and I mean, like I've always said, the only reason I liked it was because he had his wrestling music when he came to the octagon. But
well, great. You have to respect CM Punk for stuff.
Of course,
Most people
I think out of this list we got here, I'm going to say Bisping Rockhold. But Diaz McGregor, McGregor was a phenom, as Joe Rogan said, he was a phenom before that fight, going into that fight. Like, nobody could touch him. Nate Diaz wasn't famous at all to the masses.
I was so surprised when McGregor lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I'd say it is between those two, Alvarez and Dos Anjos. I knew who Eddie Alvarez was. I knew he could knock out people.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be so dominant against Dos Anjos, because nobody really dominates Dos Anjos in the way that Alvarez did.
Dos Anjos has a chin on him though, because Alvarez landed so many shots before Herb Dean stopped it. So you got to go for it.
And it was a TKO. It wasn't proper knockout.
It's TKO. Yeah.
It is between Diaz McGregor and Bisping Rockhold.
Yeah, I don't know which one to pick, because both of those fights, the guys who came in on short notice won. But
I'm gonna go Bisping. No.
Yeah, this is really tough. Bisping Rockhold, Diaz McGregor, because I think the shock from Bisping is because it's for the belt, and my reaction to that when he won, I was so stunned. I couldn't believe that he won it, and and McGregor was pure. I'm gonna say McGregor Diaz, because my emotion after both those results was more shock with Diaz McGregor, because McGregor, as we said, was just this like unparalleled star. Yeah. And for someone to, it's like when Rousey lost, wasn't it? That was easy for shock with 2015. So I'm going to say, yeah, McGregor stepping leg chicken is shock.
I have to say it was the biggest shock because I remember watching it. I just thought it'd be another routine win.
Yeah,
and I was like, it ended rear naked choke, and I was like, wow, I'm just going to go to bed now, like really, really upset because it had like an emotional thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're stepping away from the fighters now, and we're going to go to Coach of the Year. So these are the guys behind the fighters, basically, aren't they, Jamie? So our top 5 coaches of the year, we've got John Kavanagh, most famous for coaching McGregor. Greg Jackson, famous for coaching, well, everyone.
Pretty much.
John Jones, Holly Holm, Michelle Watson. Who else?
Oh.
There's a lot more people. That camp. Everyone fights Albuquerque, New Mexico. They're absolute warriors. Jason Perillo, who's Cyborg and Michael Bisping's coach. Justin Buchholz, the head coach from Team Alpha Male, with Cody Garbrandt at the helm. And Duke Rufus, who's the striking coach out of Chicago, who
works at Woodley now.
Works mainly with Tyron Woodley and Anthony Pettis as well. Mine's a toss-up between Perillo and Buchholz.
I would say so as well. Definitely Buchholz.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, Perillo because of Michael Bisping.
Yeah.
Buchholz probably because of Cody Garbrandt and others.
I do really like Duke Rufus, though. He's changed Tyron Woodley's game.
So?
In terms of just, obviously he's been that guy who's had the knockout power the whole time, but I think he's now learned to sort of consolidate that a lot more. He's not, obviously that's how he wins most of his fights.
Not so reckless.
Exactly. And Duke Rufus, bless him, he tried to coach CM Punk. So you got to not coach Kavanagh because.
Well, Conor obviously had a great year, but that wasn't only. Well, obviously you can't put the achievement of all the fighters that are in these camps just to one coach. There's obviously
absolutely
trainers.
He's looking at head coaches. Yeah,
but obviously Conor had a great year, but he's the only sort of big thing outside of out of SBG, other than Artem, and he hasn't really done much this year, but anything this year.
Yeah, he's got
Chris Avila.
Yeah, he's got Cup Swanson coming up in Nashville in April. That's going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I would go Justin Buchholz. It was a late showing to the year. He's had a few.
Is it Justin? Buchholz?
Justin, yeah, I didn't spell it right. Sorry. You got late showings from like Paige Van Zandt who unfortunately lost, but the whole Garbrandt situation, and the other night, even though it was 2016 we're looking at, but the other night with Darren Elkins and Cynthia Calvillo, whatever she's called.
Calvillo, yeah.
Coaching 2 sort of young guns going into it, and then just staying so focused into it. I think he's absolutely phenomenal, and he has a very similar style himself to that of Dominic Cruz, because he wasn't that involved in the previous fights against Dominic Cruz, I don't think, with Uriah and all that lot. But even as I think he's got such a great relationship with Cody Garbrandt, and they've got a lot of champions out from it at the moment. On where is it? I must have got rid of it. But I was on Buchholz's Instagram the other day, and the amount of champions they've got out of Alpha Met at the moment is ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah. If you go on,
current champions?
No, they've got one in the UFC, but from other promotions, there's a lot of guys who are champions right now. At least 10 or 11.
Wow. Okay.
So they're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, I'd go Justin Buchholz.
Yeah. Or Justin Buchholz.
How have you said it?
Well, how I spelt it, yeah. And the last award we've got, I hope these guys are going to be listening and going to accept these awards, because I'm sure they don't really listen to us. Yeah. We've gone for Analyst of the Year. So these are the guys who present the fights to us in the best way possible. So we've gone for Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, Dominic Cruz, Kenny Florian, and our own Dan Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both know who we're going to go for, don't we?
I think we do.
3, 2, 1, Cruz. Yeah,
yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not giving it to Rogan because he's been there for so long, and I think obviously we do take him for granted, but he's amazing. But yeah, he's just
not Cruz. It's not like Cruz is a breakout act.
It's not.
It's just, I think this year has been more prominent in goings on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like just his. I think compared to Cruz and Florian, he's just the way in which, as he said, the way in which he broke down 209 on Saturday, it's a very different perspective commentary-wise, because most of the commentators we've had in the past are from a big guy's perspective, whereas he's coming from the smaller weight classes. He's able to give a whole new insight into fighting.
Such an expert on movement.
Yeah, I mean, his movement is, no one can top his movement, and for him to,
Cody Garbrandt.
Yes, I'll give that to Dominic Cruz, because I mean he's just a man at the moment, and I think, as we said in the past, if Rogan is to ever leave, I think Cruz is the perfect guy to take his place. But then again, Cruz obviously is still fighting. I mean, he's going to have a long break now, because his next fight is going to be against Cruz or against Dillashaw or Garbrandt, which won't be until like November, December.
Well, we had the whole Sunsao all out, but I think that's dead in the water. But the thing I like, well, the thing I heard about Dominic Cruz was I think Brendan Schaub was talking about it on maybe Joe Rogan's podcast or Fighter and the Kid. Basically said I think Brendan Schaub was training with Dominic Cruz for a fight or just training in general. But he'd never seen someone with such high fight IQ that Dominic Cruz has, and that really says something about what Cruz can bring to the commentating table.
Oh. And it's his birthday today.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Dominic Cruz.
Happy birthday.
My favourite fighter.
He's like, this is the best birthday present he could ask for. Being Analyst of the Year on the first annual CovCastMMA Awards.
Your award will be shipped to you soon.
Yeah, look. And then he's talking about that. He's so excited. Bless him. So, that wraps up the sort of the recognition of 2016. Don't it, Jamie?
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I'm not sure when the next show is going to be, because the next pay-per-view is UFC 210, which is in Buffalo, and it's during, we are both students from different parts of the country, so the availability to talk about this next two fights might be a bit difficult, but we'll try and get something sorted maybe. We'll probably have to do it when we come back, so expect the next one to be early May, probably.
Yes, I think we are back at university in May.
I'm in France when UFC 210's on.
And I am not.
And you are not. Anyway, no, I'm just saying. So, we'll probably have a whole show rundown. I mean, we'll have a show a few days before UFC 211, and we'll break down everything from this week. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to break down after.
I mean, things are going to be added to that card as well.
Absolutely, but we've got things from this weekend in Brazil, and we've got London in a week's time, and then you've got UFC 210, Demetrius Johnson title defence, and UFC Fight Night in, what's one after Johnson thingy? Oh, no, Swanson Lobov. Oh, we've got to announce there's a fight night coming up in Sweden in May 28th, and it's the return of the Mauler, Alexander Gustafsson, against Glover Teixeira, number 2 versus number 3 in the light heavyweight division, which could be a title. Well, it's a title eliminator, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely.
When of that, I mean, you're gonna have John Jones come back again soon, but that is going to be happening.
Forward to seeing Gustafsson again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his last fight was in, I think no. Was it August in Hamburg? It was fine. Anyway. Okay, it's been a long day, yes.
It has.
None of that. Okay. Alright, so this has been CovCastMMA, UFC 209, and the MMA Awards, all that jazz. We'll see you next annual. The first annual
it will
of
happen
many.
Every year.
So, let's look forward to UFC Fortaleza, UFC 210, and everything
in between.
Exactly, which is London. Okay, so thanks guys for listening, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks very much.
Goodbye for now.